Okay, this is a discussion video about The Last of Us. It's kind of a review too, but it's basically going to be full of spoilers. I'm late in the game, um, and I'm going to be talking about the ending and all kinds of stuff like that. So basically, first off, it is a 10 out of 10 game, like a lot of reviewers um, have argued, um, especially story-wise. It's has an incredible story, amazing characters, including not just the major ones, these two, but the minor ones as well, and their story arcs. Um, you see a lot of references to me. I mean, a lot of stuff here reminds me of things like The Road, the movie. Um, I didn't finish the book, but that. Um, uh, some zombie movies like Dawn of the Dead and things like that. Um, the road mostly for the dynamic between like a much older um, kind of guardian and a younger and a kid who's basically like the charge. In the road, it was a father and son, but here they're not blood relatives, but the relationship and the way it um, changes over time grows basically.
When I was a kid, I used to want to be a singer.
Shut up.
I'm serious.
Sing something.
No.
Come on, I won't laugh.
I don't think so.
Please.
It's kind of funny. I think he's probably a little bit self-conscious about his singing. You know, in the end, he never sings. I thought he might sing at the end, but then again, it's kind of, would be kind of not consistent with the tone. The ending is very serious, though. You know, Ellie doesn't really realize the significance of it. Yeah. So one thing I really love in stories, a lot of and something that I do see a lot in a lot of survival horror, survival disaster, and zombie kind of movies is the whole is the ethical questions that you see, like the situational ethics, ends justifying the means versus acts being just intrinsically right or wrong, no matter what the consequences or intended consequences and stuff. So I thought the ending was really about as compelling an ending as you can have, pretty much in this with these characters. In this situation here, it's really uh, so good. I think that I don't want a sequel, and I think that I don't think they're going to try to do one because I think they would just make it couldn't add to the issue. You don't want that. You don't. I don't think you want a resolution, any more resolution than what you have there. At least I wouldn't want any more. If you want to say, well, maybe he changes his mind, or maybe circumstances change, and then facts come to light, and Ellie finds out a little bit more about the truth, and then he changes his stance and accepts things. You can just decide that, I think, for yourself. If you feel that that would be a satisfactory epilogue for the story, and I think you can do that for yourself. I don't really, in my opinion, I don't see, for example, an early death for him after. I don't see him getting bitten soon after the game's over or anything like that, and then having some kind of, you know, um, um, it's the character. Who am I thinking of? The guy from Les Mis, Jean Valjean, like that kind of like uh, deathbed kind of, um, you know, confessional or something like that. I don't see that happening in the near future. I think he's going to see her grow up um, and all that. Um, but I do really love the ending. And actually, it came to me as a surprise. Actually, it was a pleasant surprise. I thought, from a personal standpoint, I thought I was on a sports website before as I was downloading this game, and I downloaded it from PlayStation Network, the PlayStation Store, and then it installed for what 3.5 to 4 hours. And I was on it as it was installing. I was on a sports website, and then some guy said, um, Ellie gets infected and kills Joel, and I was like, really, really like crestfallen because I thought I hadn't even started playing this game, and someone was already telling me the ending, and this isn't crazy. And obviously, it turns out that that's not how the game ends. Ellie doesn't kill Joel, but I was kind of pleasantly surprised when I saw, hey, it's over, and you know what? She didn't kill him.
Aw, little monkeys.
Yeah, a whole mess of them.
Okay, so you know, the script and everything is just really, really well done. You have a different. I was realizing this. You have a different kind of. You have two different ways of going about things. Kind of two different choices. When you think about, I just realizing this. The story with Sam and Henry. Um, when Sam. When Henry realizes Sam is infected and Sam is about to kill Ellie, or he's attack. Yeah, well, let's say he's about to kill her, and Henry saves her by shooting Sam. Then Henry says, "Well, I had just basically, you know, he's full of guilt. You know, this was the one thing that he was living for was his younger brother. Um, he was going to. He was just so overwhelmed with grief and despair and everything like that. Maybe some self anger. Um, he that it compelled him to shoot himself in the head, kind of like a whatever you want to call it, a desperate, hopeless situation, right? You could kind of think of it of Joel as doing the opposite of that in the end. He's in this situation where he has to decide where he realizes that if he loses her, um, what would he be living for? That she's the reason why he's living now. She's basically, you know, this pretty much, you know, what's keeping him, I think, keeping him going. So, you know, he wouldn't be able to live with him. He probably wouldn't be able to find a reason for living if, for example, he had let them, the people, the doctors at
That was
the,
kind of awesome.
First time seeing a monkey.
First time seeing a monkey.
if he had let the doctors, you know, kill her to get out the mutant form of the cordyceps. Um, so he wouldn't have had a reason to live if she had. So um, so yeah, in a way, his life would be over too if she had died. Um, so well, actually, I guess they're not different. It's not different choice. I mean, but I just kind of think of it like he had a different. Or I guess it's more of a parallel than opposites. Um, or it would have been. But back to that situation about her and the whole question of, do I let them kill her to save you know whatever, let's just say millions of lives, you know, because if you have a vaccine, then you can save millions or whatever you want to say from being infected in the future. I don't know, whatever you want to say, thousands or billions or millions, who knows? Um, there probably aren't billions of people alive anymore, so. But that infection could just persist on the planet for another 1,000 years or whatever. So whatever it is, it's definitely more sacrificing one life to save many, 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 many lives. So from a ends justifying the means kind of point of view, utilitarianism or whatever, um, it's a classic case of that. When you think of like 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 the atom bomb, like people say, well, they dropped the nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but then all these people died, but in the end more people would have died if the war had kept going, you know. Um, but then you say, well, what about who would have died versus, women and children die, and innocent, civilians die, um, died with the atom bombs, obviously, and with the war. One certainty is that the majority of the deaths are going to be, soldiers. But then again, it's just that kind of question. But one thing there that they didn't really they didn't address, but I have my own ideas about, my own speculation about is, um, they said that Marlene says she, um, meaning Ellie, would have wanted them to do it, would have wanted them to kill her if it leads to the vaccine. But she doesn't know that for sure because she never asked. Because when Ellie comes out, this is kind of an obvious thing, but when Ellie comes out, she of the sedation or whatever, she's like, well, why am I dressed like this, and what were they going to do, and what happened?
These guys like to keep a little profile.
So they never asked her. So Marlene doesn't know that Ellie would have said yes. Now, you could say that, and you could even say that even if they had asked her, she's only 14, so in a lot of situations, like medically, you don't, when someone's a minor like that, when someone's like 14, you question, do they really understand what they're getting into and all that? So, especially when you're talking about sacrificing your life, a child, willingly sacrificing their own life. I mean, that's really, exceptional circumstance. But a healthy child too. So, then again, you could say, well, Joel doesn't know what she would say, and he's afraid to know maybe what her answer would be. He's afraid probably because he doesn't know that she would have wanted to say. He doesn't know that she would not have wanted it. In fact, he probably thinks that based on the lie he tells her at the end about the fireflies, he probably suspects she would have said yes to it. So he feels now, not like this is like saving her from herself thing. It's more of he can't live without her, that kind of thing. And it's kind of ironic, I think, the part where in the end where he says, you have to find a reason to keep fighting, or something like that at the end. But he's not really talking to her more, maybe. He's talking to her, but he's also kind of talking about.
See?
Okay, so I'm going without subtitles, so it's kind of like, but she's kind of like, oh, these fireflies are here. Second, I think it's better, yes, if you can play this game with headphones on, so you don't miss sounds, that are distant. I would recommend playing this game without the subtitles. Or if you can play the game with really loud volume, and not bother anybody. I guess if you care about that. I think it's better to play without the subtitles because lots of times what will happen is you're creeping along somewhere, and then two people are having a conversation like whatever, uh, 500 feet away, and the subtitles are telling you what they're saying, and you can't even hear it. And it just kind of breaks the illusion because it's like, well, how does he know what they're saying when they're all the way over there and their voices are like so quiet? So if he can't tell what they're saying, then he can't tell what they're saying. We don't have to know every single word that everyone is saying, you know. Um, Disconnect generator or not undo. Okay, so just for the sake of the story, I'm just going to go ahead and try to turn this on that it doesn't
There
work.
it is. This won't budge.
Um, this game, I do recommend playing this game in a New Game Plus. After you beat the game, I beat the game on normal, and then this is a normal game plus, and I find it's actually a lot more fun. I mean, not like this. The story is whatever better or anything, but there's some things that I missed. There were rooms that I missed, notes and artifacts that I missed from the first time, and just having like by this time it's a lot of these things go a lot smoother. Number one, because you know how to solve the puzzles already. You don't have to go solve them over again. You know where to go. Um, you know, and you have your own style on how to fight. And it's a style that works. It's a style you're comfortable with. It's a style is it's proven. So I have no. This is a one-way track right now. Okay. So just I think that definitely um, it might take a long time for me to platinum this game, but I haven't platinumed any games ever actually. But this one might be one that I might platinum. It might take several playthroughs though to do it. You definitely have to beat it on Survivor and Survivor Plus. So you have to beat it. I have to beat it at least 2 more times. And I've definitely missed artifacts, and I think I know where some of the passed over ones were, but anyway, so the gameplay about it being like an evolution control-wise over Uncharted 3. Basically, um, for example, um, okay, this is kind of a sad story. This is a girl, I think, writing about like her, and I think she is, a lot of her friends she's talking about are girls. Um,
How long you have that?
and but stuff I'm picking up now on now like the second time that I didn't the first time. For example, the story about Kyle and Ish and all those people. So basically, in Pittsburgh, the character, I think that's where both Kyle and Ish, I think they both lived in the same neighborhood. At least Kyle lived in that neighborhood, and he had kids. And this guy Ish asks him to come down with him, and bring his family down with him to the tunnels, to the sewers. And eventually, Kyle doesn't make it. He kills his kids are in that little school that they make, and in that room, he gets infected, and they're trapped in that room, and he kills them all. He kills the kids. He says they died without pain. He has that note there, or they died, something like that. They died painlessly or something, and he kills himself too. And they're all in that room, and they're under that blanket. So he killed them, and then he killed himself. So I didn't pick up on that the first time I played it. This I like this New Game Plus idea also because another thing about it is it does go smoother because you're upgraded, and you've got weapons-wise and supplement-wise, physically. I don't think I've missed anything here. Did I miss anything? Pretty much it's just one hallway with a bunch of extra rooms. Yeah. So, and then this was a dead end, right? Yeah. So, anyway, I've seen everything. Sorry about that. Camcorder ran out of memory, so I just had to delete some things. But yeah, I knew I'd already seen that I'd been covered all this. But I don't know, I just got neurotic for a second there. Okay. Okay. So as far as the evolution of the gameplay, the zooming in with X is a lot better than R3. And it's just toggle. Same thing with Uncharted, but X is not ambiguous at all, but R3 is a button people accidentally hit sometimes. And also goes with Xbox, though I haven't really played much Xbox. I don't have one, but I know it happens to them too. Like in Call of Duty and Halo and stuff, when you're just trying to look and you accidentally hit R3 and then you zoom or you melee or whatever. You melee in those games, Call of Duty and stuff. So that ambiguity is gone. You don't accidentally zoom anymore. So this hearing. Okay. What's my melee weapon? I don't have one, so let me use the bottle just in case it gets hairy. But I like the realism of it. Okay, this is just a straight clicker, so I'm gonna shiv him. When you have a mix of clickers and runners, that's when I think it gets really, really tough. Because it's like, these are a lot of the college students, you have to assume. But, because if a runner sees you and starts going crazy and then the clicker gets alerted, when clickers have no idea that you're there, then they're not so bad. Assuming I've got plenty of shivs. That bloater, the bloater, the first time in the high school, really, really owned me and killed me over and over and over again but basically my strategy now for bloaters later on was just, if you can set them on fire, do it. So flamethrowers, Molotov cocktails, etc. I guess those are really the main ways to set enemy on fire. But those work well because they don't do damage even when you're not there. You can run away, and if they're still on fire, they're still taking damage and all that. Not like one Molotov cocktail is all you need, because that's not enough. But anyway, I can just use the flamethrower on him. Really, I didn't use the flamethrower on anybody else. There was no need to in the whole game, at least on normal difficulty. Just used it on the bloater. On this bloater, I'll use it on him. And there's another situation later on where you've got two bloaters. With the flamethrower ammo, you have plenty of it. I guess kind of what I'm trying to say. You could use it. I guess I could have used it in the science center later, when there's quite a lot of enemies on that staircase. It's pretty hairy. I died there a lot the first time, but okay. Doesn't hear me. Oh, so lots of flamethrower ammo. Okay, so basically my strategy was always to focus on shivs and then health kits mostly, and Molotovs. I never really used these bombs and smoke bombs very much. Where was I going? Flame. Something I was thinking about earlier, I just didn't get around to it. Oh, bow and arrow is good to use, Oh, I know what I was going to say. with these, Shiv Master, the first one is really important, I think. It saves you a lot. Because otherwise, all the, lots of times in the beginning, a clicker goes after you, and if you don't have this Shiv Master, just the first level Shiv Master, you, and you don't have a Shiv, or, well, and you're dead, basically. Because you can't just pull out your Shiv, and you can't just hit triangle to Shiv them if they've surprised you and you don't have any Shiv Master upgrades. So that is your, like, your most important one. Shiv Master, getting that as early as you can saves you some headache. Just the first level up of it. And then, you know, after that, I think you can pretty much do whatever you want with the upgrades, and probably doesn't make a huge difference. The listening, I guess, is I use it less in New Game Plus. Like, oh, okay, so now, is it fun time? Looks like it's fun time, right? Okay. So, this is going to be the exciting part of the most exciting part of the video. I guess no human opponents are going to be in this video. Just some good old-fashioned infected guys. Looks like this is another same kind of floor plan as the other. Yeah, I do miss things. Same kind of floor plan as the other floor there, which kind of makes sense, I guess. But just one long hallway, and then, well, you have rooms on both sides. But this is more like a hall here, or I mean not a hall, but a common room. Okay, so let me just use the flamethrower on this guy. Maybe just because it's a video, I'll use the Molotov as well. Start out with the Molotov. That's a little bit excessive, I guess. No, it's okay. I'll just do the flamethrower. Because I shouldn't be wasteful just for no reason, right? Keep a good distance. And I don't want to accidentally hit that bookshelf, because that would be a waste of ammo. And this should be pretty straightforward. Oh no. Okay, not so straightforward. Reload. I don't remember. It wasn't that complicated last time. Maybe I hit him with a Molotov the first playthrough. Okay. There he goes. So yeah, set him on fire. And also, I had played a lot of the Resident Evil games. Do you get a Firefly pendant from him? Is that really? Okay. And it isn't, you know, from the early 2000s or whatever, like Resident Evil 2. And it's an evolution, I think, of those concepts. The resource management and make stuff and menu management while you're still vulnerable to attack. I mean, this whole thing, people can attack you while you're making stuff. I think that is really, they really improved that. Whereas Resident Evil had these clunky menus and stuff. At least 2 did, you know, and 3, to my knowledge. So it's improvement in that regard. There's this third-person aspect which doesn't mess with suspense at all. People talk about like immersion and first person, but first person is kind of this is a different. Whoa! This gives you plenty of immersion. Now I was kind of surprised to learn that actually a lot of people who, it looks like, based on my understanding, I was looking at Wikipedia a little bit, is that Uncharted 2, well, a lot of people from Uncharted 2 worked on this game. but not a lot of people from Uncharted 3, because they were working on Uncharted 3 while this was being made. So Naughty Dog ended up basically having two teams at the same time. This was kind of like maybe a rare or maybe a first time um, occasion, or the first time it happened. So it wasn't really the Uncharted 3 people who made this game, actually, and that would be kind of it's not a quite correct association. And Uncharted 2 I thought was better than Uncharted 3 by a wide margin story-wise. And multiplayer-wise, not. But story-wise, yes. And so I'm starting to think I'm going to look up these people a little bit more, the Uncharted, the Last of Us crew, and see how many how many of them worked on like Uncharted 2 and what other stuff they worked on as well. Because yeah, like like all this people who say this is a masterpiece and all that, they're right. It is. So, um, as far as ranking this game, I think it's probably too early to say. Well, is it the best? I don't think I saw this one. 60% of the world's population is either dead or infected. Yeah, I didn't see that note actually the first time I played this game. So I'm actually maybe even exploring more in New Game Plus. I think what it is I know where the main route is now better. So I feel less nervous about missing it, about knowing, okay, which one would be a side route and which one is a main route.
More infected, I'm fine.
Yeah, so I don't have the volume very high. But, I did play the game the first time with subtitles. But yeah, like I said, there's some issues with that. I mean, it's not like... I know it's not as exactly like a movie where it's really easy to tell what people are saying, and subtitles are not standard, and I know a lot of the playthroughs have subtitles, but I think if you're playing this game and you want to maximize your enjoyment, if you can have like speakers so you don't miss anything, you might have to have them, not speakers, headphones, or have the volume really loud, then I don't think you need the subtitles. It's not the default, and I think that's I think the developers would prefer you to not use subtitles. That would be my guess. So this thing needs to be moved. Oh, there is a puzzle. The puzzles. I think we're all good. It's not a game where you have like a bad puzzle. And one advantage over Uncharted 2, well, there are some advantages, some areas where it's better. Uncharted 2, there definitely were parts where, especially your first time playing it, where you would get where I would get really frustrated. I'm sure a lot of other people would too. In some battles,
Let's try the gate.
battles. But here, you don't really get frustrated, I don't think, as much.
Yeah. Go up first.
Because once you realize how you're supposed to play,
Good.
Those clickers. You think they were fireflies?
I don't think so.
Why would they have an infected so close to the lab?
Well, Bill used them as a form of defense. Maybe they're doing the same.
Yeah, I could see that.
so I think turning point, well, you can see, like, as far as her changing her opinion of it, well, they pretty much changed. I think it was them changing their opinions of each other. Those things happen with all the major events, like tragedy with Tess, um, he kind of at some point I think. Well, he started seeing similarities to her, that things about her that her reminded him of his daughter pretty early. Um, I would assume, just just by just being a young girl and all that, even. Um, Personality-wise, she's completely different. I think that's supposed to be pretty much like a conclusion you're supposed to make. Like, his daughter Sarah was so like meek and like polite and sweet, and maybe probably not as um, self-confident as Ellie is, and definitely not as knowledgeable about um, some things. Definitely not, wasn't exposed to violence and all those kinds of things. And but then again, Sarah knew a lot more about modern day kind of stuff, 2000s, 2010 kind of stuff that Ellie doesn't really understand, and never could really understand. I guess you're supposed to assume that he will go on to tell her all kinds of stories about, you know, the World Wide Web and whatever, cell phones, and all those things that we talk about now, um, Twitter and things like that. But um, cable news, sitcoms.
No, nothing.
Yeah, I'd expect to see someone by now. Suicide.
I think you wonder, how well you can really communicate that kind of stuff to somebody who will never see that stuff or hear it. Can you really communicate in words and drawings and whatever, um, what this life is like, in the 21st century?
What, university?
Yeah.
No, not as a student, at least.
Why not?
I had Sarah when I was pretty young.
Were you married?
For a while.
What happened? So much?
Too much.
Yeah, I like the amount of backstory that they give, which is to say, like, the bare minimum. Because I would kind of like to think that, well, I mean, my guess is probably after high school, since he didn't go to college, so maybe like he was like 18 or 19 or something. Um, he was probably like 19 when Sarah came along. Around there. Maybe he went to work after high school. But it sounds like he's really saying that he probably would have gone to college if he hadn't become, um, a father to be already. So, he's probably married for a couple of years, and there was a divorce for who knows what reason. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to assume that he was widowed. But they don't say anything about the wife, so there probably, or the ex-wife, so there probably wasn't really that much of a connection. I mean, she's definitely not alive. That would be something that they would have to tell you, for you to assume that to be true. So, but maybe he doesn't know it. Yeah, I mean, there's no connection there for him emotionally. He doesn't think about her. So, just trying not to miss any of these little tents. There's definitely tons of stuff in these tents, and ammunition, tools, and stuff. Oh, a tip. Not a tip really, but it makes a huge difference, I think, getting that hunting rifle scope pretty early, because I didn't even know you could put a scope on it to make it like a sniper rifle, but you can, and that definitely makes things a lot simpler for later. It's useful. What is this? Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, there were some situations where, I guess, where it just wasn't clear what you're supposed to do. Um, I don't think there's really anything on these sides. I remember I pretty much always would go around the perimeters looking for stuff, but yeah, that's because I was here already. Usually it was pretty low yield. I didn't get all the comic books though, and I guess, oh man, that's something you are supposed to do. It's just like, you see all this, um, it's always grass, tall grass, wherever you go on these perimeters. Let's see, you'd have to rank it as far as PS3 games go. Um, I don't know if I should say this. I think it might be too early to say this. It's definitely, I would say it has to be um, in the top two.
Scooch.
It has to be. That's my opinion. With Uncharted 2, sorry. Those two, I think you have to consider as the best Uncharted PS3 games. Which is kind of a win-win situation for Naughty Dog, because they take the top two spots, and then you don't have to. I wouldn't just stick with the exclusives. God of War 3 was kind of disappointing in some ways. Like especially with like the ending and just some of the combat aspects.
Hey, what about over there?
Yeah, that looks like a way
Let's see here. But yeah, you'd have to put it in the top. Like I've played like GTA 4 and okay, just triggering this story.
It's rusted shut. I'll have to find another way.
Maybe we can get over it.
Go,
Yeah.
Scoot.
You know what? To be honest, I'm trying to remember. Hold on. Yeah, GTA 4 I think was really overrated. Yeah, GTA 4 was really overrated, especially if you look at like the control scheme. Like I realize, it was kind of collective process the way, the video game community figured out how to do third-person shooters the best way. But the controls are so clunky in GTA 4 that I just can't play. If you've played enough like Uncharted 2, like I think it's just too frustrating. Trying to do here you go. Uncharted 3. I mean GTA 4. Can't remember, how do you get this thing? Where's the triangle? Oh, it's not this, it's that. That's right, I forgot. So some things like I just kind of actually had to stumble upon accidentally, like to figure out how to do. get out of some of these situations. But yeah, this was, yeah, now I remember.
Well, alright, not what I had in mind, but it'll do.
Yeah, I was probably wanting her to vault over. I'll admit it. There was a puzzle in the underground tunnel. So later on here, after the university, I mean, after the hospital. I mean, not hospital. Sorry, science lab, um, where you need to like jump from like this little yellow kind of rectangle to like this iron-shaped structure, iron structure, and I couldn't figure out that all you had to do was just hold the sprint button and it'll auto jump. And it's kind of, I thought that was kind of surprising. I was just wondering if anybody else got stuck on that, I guess, because that was just kind of, I don't know. I guess I was kind of not happy when I figured out how easy it was, when I accidentally got through it, because I thought there had to be something under the water, so I kept diving over and over, and then it wouldn't let you really explore, because it keeps making you surface with all the currents. So yeah, that was kind of annoying, I guess. But yes, that was maybe the only frustrating moment in this whole game for me, really. Like I said, the combat I think was always fair. It just, there's always, well, you can just change your approach the next time. You can always use a bomb or whatever later, or whatever, if you really have to. Like a Molotov, if you really just can't beat some guys.
Alright, we're inside. Come on, kiddo, give me your hand.
Oh yeah, their relationship. So I think
Let's look around.
with after like Bill's Town and everything like that, she really started to get, she was developing a lot more trust in him, um, and in Pittsburgh, of course, and um, when she saves him, and then when he trusts her, um, that really improves her just kind of feeling of kind of belief that she can actually survive, and makes a huge difference, I think, when he does that. Trusts her with that rifle. But you can actually play it so that she doesn't have to fire a single shot with that sniper rifle. When you give her that hunting rifle, if you just kind of go into the building and get yourself kind of in that room, in the first building on your right, and people can just and people will keep coming to you, and you can get like 5 or 6 guys just inside, so she doesn't even have to do anything with it. So she doesn't even have to fire a single shot. It'll still do the same like movie scene at the end, like, and it'll say good job, but Oh, the weapons. So this weapon is awesome, the El Diablo. And I'll probably try to get it like as a multiplayer. You can get it as like an unlock. It's a really awesome gun. The holsters you should definitely, I think. Uh, when I got the pistol holster, it made my life so much easier. And same thing the long gun holster, which I didn't do as early as I should have. I think that's probably those are huge difference, especially like if you have a bunch of runners coming out at you, you need to switch guns. The shotgun is really more useful, I think, than like the hunting rifle. I don't know. Well, it depends on the situation. These two are really useful. Pistols pretty much are really similar. This gun and this one. So anyway.
We'll do just fine.
Even if it's a new game plus, though, I'm wondering if I can. I'm hoping I can get enough fully upgrade everything, but it'd be tricky. not going to go back to that desk. It's too... There'll be another desk later on. Yeah, supplements just that Shiv thing. Do I have a melee? Shiv Master just made a huge difference. I couldn't believe it. It used to be a lot more stressful with the clickers when I didn't have that option of, well, you know, if they get on top of you, you can hit triangle. You have to get that Shiv Master. So yeah, nobody told me, but figuring that out helped a lot.
Do what? Probably just withdraw some blood. It don't hurt.
Gotten shot before. Exactly. School. And it's
I guess it's kind of ironic. In the end, she ends up using needles to help him, right? When she gives him the penicillin. But I think she's injecting it into his stomach. That's where they're supposed to assume there. Not right at the wound or anything, but on the side.
There you go. Just keep it down until we figure out what's going on.
The shiv doors it is always worth it to use the shiv. Wow, that's a lot. They always give some ammo, and you can always make another shiv. They usually give you, I think, some blades. But they don't always give rags if you're gonna make a shiv. What is it they call it? Binding. Sorry, binding. Not rags. The ending was really good. Well, the stuff at the pediatric hospital was really. I thought it was really emotional. Extremely well done, I think. I guess what I'm trying to say is I was really emotionally impacted by that whole sequence. So I thought that was really really well done. Okay, later on here, this battle is really, really tough. All these guys keep coming up, and there's no real good cover. I guess you can back up here. Well, you can try to back up here, for example, or I mean, right here, and wait for some of them to come up. But then you can also they can come at you from there. I can't remember how that is. I don't know how they get there, but anyway, they start coming from there as well. So. I guess we're gonna see the whole. Yeah, he doesn't know what that's all about.
nothing useful.
And I've nailed a bunch of medical mumbo jumbo.
I don't get it.
Looks like they all was packed up and left in a hurry.
Maybe not all of them.
Stay close.
I guess everyone. I'm sure everyone was really pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed, or really thought. Well, definitely, I guess one great moment. I think everyone would pretty much agree. I would assume is the giraffes moment. It's really just kind of completely out of nowhere. This whole scene with the giraffes in the city, owning the city basically, like it's that's their home right there in the middle of like a Central Park kind of area.
Hold on.
That was really great, and I've seen on YouTube those videos on the giraffes, and just the giraffe scene. Really, I think it was really brilliant. That idea. Okay, yeah, this one was like.
Lost 2 more guards to infected attacks. They're about to go have another goddamn meeting about the safety of this lab. All of our equipment is here. All of our data is here. All the personnel have gotten used to living here. Another test.
That guy was kind of crazy though. This
Will drive me insane.
that lead researcher, he kind of went crazy. He was obsessed with trying to find the cure, and obviously, that it's a noble cause and worth fighting for, but. So I guess I am kind of curious to see how people react. I mean, it's easy to understand, I think, why Joel does what he does, and to find reasons to justify it, to say stuff like, well, you know, you can't, this is like an innocent person's life, and just gonna, well, obviously there's a lot of reasons I'm sure that he has, reasons he has to justify to himself why he did what he did, and, but I guess I'm kind of curious to see what other people's reactions are. This is in the comments you can talk about the ending all you want. Anyone who's there who's going to complain, that the title is going to say right there, spoilers, discussion about ending or something like that. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what other people are saying. I've pretty much given my opinions extremely extensively and rambled and rambled and rambled, so.
All the clickers, right?
Oh, clickers don't hide.
So yeah, whatever you guys want to say about the ending and things like that, I'd be curious to know, and I think I'll pretty much just stop it here. So there you go. Thanks for watching.